I need to know what's gonna happen next. Hey, it's Kristen, and today we are talking about Netflix's brand new South African series, Blood and Water. The story is about a Cape Town teen who sets out to prove whether or not a private school swimming star is actually her sister who was abducted at birth. Consider subscribing if you like my videos, and drop it in the comments, and let's talk about Blood and Water together. I have to say, the very first few seconds of Blood and Water grabbed me. I think that this is a show that cinematically, the shots are gorgeous. You know, we start out watching this very high quality looking image of our main character Puleng on her bed. The image flips and they just do these close-up shots that just feel very cinematic and beautiful. For me, those were some of my favorite aspects of the show, was to see that quality in there, that you're just like, wow. I was very impressed in the first few seconds alone. And I think they do a lot of really great shots like that throughout the season, that you're just like, wow, this is impressive. The lighting in so many scenes is beautiful. They go to a party in someone's house and there's all these neon lights, and just the way that it reflects off of everyone's skin, it just looks so gorgeous. This show is very aesthetic. You know, it's very aesthetically pleasing. We're following a very middle class to upper class group of people in South Africa. I really loved the representation here. Then we get to see beautiful dark-skinned lead characters. This is like a teen, young adult story, but also they're trying to address some deeper issues as well. This is a show from South Africa, so it kind of allowed us to dive into the culture, which I thought was really cool. And that's one of the things I really enjoyed about the show, was that sometimes they're speaking English, sometimes they're speaking Zulu. They add all of these different elements, and I think that's very realistic to how different cultures speak. I think that that's very authentic, so I really enjoyed that. They also had some incredible music. The soundtrack is off the charts, and we got Nasty C, who's a South African rapper, doing not one but two different songs in this show, I believe, and also making a guest appearance, his first guest appearance ever on a TV show, as a character named Zero, who's sort of like a producer working with one of the other characters on New Music. That was super exciting. So there were so many great elements to this show already. The idea of the story itself, you know, this mystery, this girl trying to figure out, is this my sister, is this not, all of those things I was totally on board with. I will say though, the biggest issue around the show was probably around the script, because I think that involves, you know, not only just the lines but also the pacing. You know, I think we had a really cool idea, but then the whole show was revolving too much around her saying, I have to go, and then being on her phone, and I have to go, and then being on her phone. We kind of start going down, I think, a little bit of a typical high school drama type of road. Even though it's only 6 episodes, it does feel like it drags a little bit, because you really want to know, what's going on with this mystery, and they kind of sidetrack that a lot, because our main character Puleng is honestly really not that great of an investigator. She kind of gets caught up in a lot of other side drama, things that, to be honest, sometimes didn't even make sense for them to be drama. You know, there's a whole situation with the school magazine where this character Wendy, who is a big pot stirrer, stirred a pot and you know, caused drama between Puleng and Fikile, and a lot of it just felt like unnecessary. Like, it's pretty clear that it wasn't Puleng's fault, but then everyone still wants to put blame on her. So a lot of things that kind of felt like petty drama ended up taking more of the focus, and even though we are still investigating this mystery, it felt like we didn't focus on that enough. And I think because of that, we didn't even really get to necessarily dive into some of these characters in a more meaningful way. Like, you know, we're really focused on Puleng. I think Wade was a great character. He was someone that I had so much fun with. I think we started really getting into KB, and we started getting into Fikile, but then every other character sometimes felt like they didn't have a purpose. Wendy, you know, she could have been this really strong activist character, and instead she just seemed like a tattletale who just was stirring the pot. Or Chris, you know, he again is another character that was kind of like stirring the pot, but what was his real purpose? And I think the character that I really noticed this with was Reese, because she had 3 lines and didn't have any purpose or role whatsoever other than just being in the friend group. And that's kind of a character that I'm like, why are you here? What is your purpose? I just feel like you need to have that kind of idea if you're going to introduce a character, otherwise it's what's the point? And as much as this season starts on a high and then kind of has these ups and downs, it ends on an equally high, and you just want to know what's gonna happen now. Puleng finally reveals to Fikile that she thinks that she's her sister, and you know, there's all these questions still. I feel like that moment could have happened way sooner. I feel like based off of the reaction we're seeing from Fikile, it's maybe this is real. Maybe that's a legitimate theory that she has. So I'm curious to see, you know, what would happen if we get a season 2. What would her response be? Would she believe Poolang? Is it even really true? Just because Fukule might actually be adopted doesn't necessarily even mean that she still is related to Poolang. Like, they could be completely separate still. And what is going to go on with Poolang's dad? How did he even get involved in this? Did he really give up his daughter? Did something else happen? I'm really curious to see how they explain all of this, and I feel like we need to know more, right? Like, we need to know. I think this is a show for me that had so many great aspects to it. I think that it faltered a bit when it came to sort of the scripting and the format, and just diving, I think, a little bit too much into drama that was not very meaningful to the story. But at the same time, I really think that this is a mystery that will keep you hooked. I could see them really blowing it out of the water in season 2 and really finally addressing all of that mystery. If you like this one, you can check out more of my Netflix reviews right over here, and I'll catch you in my next video. See ya!